Hi everyone! Welcome to today's Readers Workshop lesson. It's our last day with Enemy Pie as our mentor text. I'm so glad you guys have been tuning in this week. And today I was thinking about, I've been really watching a lot of Netflix since we've been, at home a lot. And every time I finish a show or a movie, I'm always asking myself, what do I think? What did I learn? What did my characters learn? And what was the big central message of the movie? Because I love learning from people in my life and in my books and my movies. So I was like, let's try that with our books today. And our central message is basically what's the big message that the author wants readers to learn about the book. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to be identifying the central message in your books that you're reading at home, but we're going to be using Enemy Pie as an example. And so if you look at your SeeSaw account, you should see the central message activity posted up. You're going to click add response on the green button here, and a new assignment will pop up and you'll be able to type into it. But today, the teachers are going to help me come up with our answers, and we're just going to do a lot of turn and talk to talk about what we think the message of a story is. And so I created a little graphic organizer that I will also post up, and you can pause the video if you need to go back to it, of how do we find the message in a story. And so the first one is, well, it says find the message by asking good questions. And so good readers always ask themselves questions as they're reading, and even before, during, and after. And so this is after our reading, we're going to ask ourselves these questions. The first question we can ask ourselves is, how did the character react to a problem? So we can think about, was there a problem in your story? In Enemy Pie, we know there was a problem. How did the character react to that problem? And then the second question is, what important decisions did the character make? Did our characters make important decisions in the story? The next question is, how did the character grow and change? And we know for sure in Enemy Pie, our character did change because that was one of the activities we did this week. And the last question is, what did the character learn? And so you can ask yourself all these questions, or you can ask yourself just one or two of these questions to help you find the central message. So the teachers and I are going to show you how do we ask these questions. And we're going to do the first one together first. How did the character react to a problem? So let's think, did the boy have a reaction to the problem? Now remember, in all our books, it can be different. Sometimes you might not have an answer to this question, but I'd like us to ask it just in case that there is a reaction to the problem. So let's give our teachers some time to think. How did the character react to the problem in this story? And if you have an idea, go ahead and give me a thumbs up so I can call on you. Ms. Yakimowicz, what do you think?
So the boy, when he was confronted with a problem, and I think the problem was that Jeremy Ross didn't invite him to his birthday party, he immediately reacted angrily by posting his number one enemy on his treehouse. So that was his reaction. The boy's reaction was to be angry when he wasn't invited to Jeremy Ross's birthday party.
And I love that you talked about anger, because that's what a reaction is. It's like it could be our emotional reaction to something. And so thank you for mentioning that. Do any other teachers want to add on to that thought? If not, Ms. Rosales, you okay? You agree?
I agree with her. That was the thought that came to mind.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to type that into our key details. So if you look at your SeeSaw account, you just press the text button, and we're going to add that in the key detail part of our text. And I know there might be lines that may or may not work, but your boys and girls, you can try your best. And of course, you can text and record. We'd love to challenge you to do both, but we'd like to have either one if you are having a hard time. So, Mr. Kimowicz, can you paraphrase what you said to me earlier?
The boy was angry when Jeremy Ross did not invite him, or Jeremy did not invite him to his birthday party.
Love that. And I'm going to add on to that thought of he called Jeremy an enemy. Because that tells us a lot about, he just didn't even give Jeremy a chance. He responded really kind of
Emotionally.
Yeah, that's a good word. He responded emotionally. So he falls. Okay, so thank you for answering our first question. Let's move on to our second question. What important decisions did the character make? So let's think. Did our character make any important decisions that help us understand what the big message of the story is? If you think so, you can give me a thumbs up and we can share that out. Ms. Rosales?
So, did he make an important decision? Yes. He sought out the help of his dad, and asked for advice on what to do next. And so he consulted his dad, and his dad suggested making enemy pie.
And I want to add on to that. I love that you mentioned that he asked his dad for help, because sometimes our characters involve other characters to help them solve their problems. And this one is important because he didn't think, oh, dad, can you, it was, his decision wasn't, oh, dad, can you help me become friends with Jeremy? It was, can you help me get back at Jeremy? And that tells us a lot about the character's motivations, his personality, and that tells us a lot about the central message. Any teachers want to add on to that thought, or are we okay to move on?
We're good.
Awesome. And the next question is, how did the character grow and change? I'll give you some think time, and boys and girls, always pause the video if you need more think time. Miss Kim, would you like to share?
Yes, so in the beginning, Miss Yukima, which mentions that the boy did react angrily, but he grew because he learned that maybe that wasn't the best way to react, and so he, because his dad gave him the advice to become friends with or to spend a day with Jeremy Ross, he learned that he grew in a sense where he learned that next time maybe don't judge someone by just by what you see, and then give people the benefit of the doubt and chance. And so I guess he realized next time to take a moment and reflect, and maybe he learned to just maybe show grace and be kind to Jeremy Ross.
And I love how you already moved into the central message, because all these ideas are connected, and that's why we ask these questions, because it helps us understand the central message. And I love how Ms. Kim said that he learned from his mistake. That's how he grew and changed. And that ties into the next question of what did the character learn? And that's going to help us understand how to write the central message. And so teachers, can we give ourselves some time to think how we would want to word the central message? And there can be many different central messages in a story, and we're going to come up with some for Enemy Pie, and I'm sure you have some at home as well. But let's go ahead and write in a sentence, what do we think the message the author is trying to send? When you're ready, give me a thumbs up. And boys and girls, you can always use your key details to help support your thinking. Ms. Akimowicz, do you want to help us write a sentence?
I was thinking maybe using part of the title, so give your enemies a second chance by spending time with them.
I love that. And I also want to mention that the how we're wording this is very important. We never say the central message of the story is that the boy learned to give his enemies a second chance, because that won't apply to all the books. Our central message really applies to other books or in our own life. So we want to learn that the author is trying to tell us that we have to give our enemies a second chance by spending time with them. Let's think of one more, maybe. The last one. Any thoughts, teachers? Ms. Rosales?
Piggybacking on what Ms. Kim said, don't judge a book by its cover.
Love that. And can you explain to me what you mean by that?
Don't judge a person by their actions, really, because you don't know what the intention was. So really giving them that opportunity to explain themselves, what was their thinking behind the actions they took. And maybe you might have been accurate at first, but giving the person an opportunity to also grow.
And I love that, because it's talking about how do we communicate with clarity and really clarify intentions. And if we misunderstand something, it's okay to ask, because actually maybe we learn that these characters, just like characters change, our friendships with people can change for better or for worse. And so we learn a lot of different things by looking at how our characters have grown. So boys and girls, we want you to try this at home with your own books. And again, you can pause on this screen, because these are the questions I want you to ask yourself to help yourself find the central message of your story. Thank you for joining us today, and hope you have fun reading some more books. Bye.